Hey everyone, it's Dr. Naomi Wolf, not a medical doctor, don't arrest me. And I'm here today to share with you an amazing story. It has so much in it that is relevant to us today. This is part of my Liberty Lifestyle series about natural remedies. Well, I learned in college in my Women's Studies 101 class about Lydia Pinkham. And she was an American entrepreneur in the 19th century, actually near where we are part of the time in Lynn, Massachusetts, near Lynn, Massachusetts. And she, according to positive original lore and biographies, she learned, as many women in the 19th century in America did, from Native Americans around them about herbs and barks and roots from which they made tinctures and poultices and powders and elixirs in order to treat their families. As I wrote in my recent essay on Substack, do you want to learn about natural remedies? This notion that healing has to be restricted to doctors licensed by the American Medical Association is a pretty recent invention. And many of you know the story of how in 1910, John D. Rockefeller took his oil money and invested it in remaking medical knowledge, medical accreditation in America, and issued the Flexner Report, which basically disparaged traditional home remedies, natural remedies, osteopathy, homeopathy as quackery. And Rockefeller money founded the American Medical Association's ability to be the sole licensor and arbiter of who gets to heal in America. And what followed, as you all know, is 113 years of big money. By the time Flexner died, it was $600 million that John D. Rockefeller had poured into remaking not only American medicine, but American science, founding other institutions to kind of keep strict guardrails around medicine and science. And, you know, we had 113 years of basically the erasure of the kinds of remedies that our grandmothers knew. And the not only the erasure, but the kind of disparagement of these kinds of remedies. And we're really on a precipice, right? Because so many of these remedies have been forgotten. You know, I've been going back to books from the 19th century, the early 20th century, before 1910. And, you know, pharmacists' compendiums had these roots, these medicinal barks and plants in them, as well as, you know, chemical compounds. And many household books, basic best-selling Mrs. Beeton type household cookbooks, essentially also had herbal tinctures, remedies, things to give your child when he or she was asthmatic, things to do to bring down a fever, poultices, and so on. So I just want to keep saying over and over that it's absolute nonsense. We have to kind of do the end of the Wizard of Oz with with medicine. You know, as great as antibiotics are, as wonderful as it is that we don't die of gangrene, and that we can have cesarean sections when a baby is stuck. You know, we have to demystify the unearned mystification, this aura that you can't learn about healing if you're not licensed by the American Medical Association. And in fact, I just had a very chilling interview with Dr. James Thorpe, a maternal fetal medicine specialist, and he and his wife, lawyer Maggie Thorpe, have revealed that 3 major medical licensing and obstetrical licensing boards took hundreds of millions of dollars from pharma to send out bullying letters to doctors, basically saying, you know, during the pandemic, basically saying, we will remove your license if you don't follow these rigid protocols, if you don't follow the narrative. And that's what happened. And basically, in the last 4 years, doctors having gotten these bullying mafia-like emails, basically trafficked the bodies of their patients by handing them over, not telling them the truth, putting them in jeopardy, murdering some of them, disabling some of them, if not hundreds and thousands of them, in order not to lose their own licenses. A true scandal. So all that being said, I'm so interested, as you know, in going back in time and seeing what were these remedies that people were using before this gigantic mafia style boondoggle. So now let's talk about Lydia Pinkham. When I was growing up and when I was in college, she was really taught as an American entrepreneurial heroine, the way that people who, the guy who invented the Model T or the guy who invented the cotton gin, she was taught like that. So she first marketed Lydia Pinkham's compound in 1875, and I'm reading from Arizona State University's site, a very neutral to positive site about Lydia Pinkham. It was an herbal medicine that women used to relieve menstrual discomfort and menopausal symptoms. And Pinkham had invented it a couple of years before in her home kitchen in Lynn, Mass. And she mixed alcohol, which, by the way, is very normal when you're making an extract with herbs. It is very normal to suspend it in alcohol, but we'll get to why this is used against her later. The compound made of roots and herbs, she packaged it and distributed it by 1876 and advertised it in many newspapers. It became a household name. So this was quite innovative. It was very common, according to Pinkham scholar Sarah Stage, for women, as I keep saying, to concoct medicines in their homes. In the 19th century, many people were suspicious of doctors, and doctors prescribed what were very dangerous medications at that time. I mean, one of the things you all should know about, no disrespect to good doctors, right? We all need good doctors when we're really in trouble. But in the 19th century, it was, women at home who were using these folk remedies that had been in use for centuries and mostly didn't have side effects, versus in the 19th century, doctors were, not rigorously licensed. They didn't know about germ theory. They were causing puerperal fever when they delivered babies at home. And they were regularly using very dramatic interventions like calomel, which are mercury salts, which really can kill people and cause horrible mercury poisoning, and make people go mad. I mean, the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland is mad because mercury was used in making hats at that time, and hatters would often go mad. I mean, there are horrible accounts of especially women locked up in lock hospitals, they were called, in Britain in the 19th century, and forcibly treated with calomel, and they died horrible deaths, or their skin would peel off, or they would, lose their minds, froth at the mouth. I mean, appalling things. I mean, this was the state of, heroic medicine in the 19th century. So, of course, many people turned to women like Lydia Pinkham and their botanical remedies. The lore is that she got her knowledge about what was in her concoction from Native Americans around her and from John King's The American Dispensatory. And so people were seeking her out, and it was a mixture of roots and herbs that grew wild in North America. So here's where we get to the meat of what I want to say. She created her original tonic in her home kitchen stove. It was black cohosh, which is still recommended and in use for menstrual problems, life root. I finally got it. Unicorn root, and there's some controversy about unicorn root. Here it is. This is false unicorn. Okay. Pleurisy root. Here's pleurisy root. And fenugreek seed. There you go. And I got these from, you can get them very easily on probably my myspicesage.com, which is a site I like, but also Frontier Co-op has cheap bulk herbs. But this is the hawthorn tree in Wyoming, where I was passing through, and it's a lovely apothecary. And I asked the owner there to help me recreate the original Lydia Pinkham's compound. So these, the unicorn root gave energy to the uterus and lessened the likelihood of miscarriage, and the pleurisy root allegedly helped cure prolapsed uteri, which happen when uterine tissue drop into the vaginal canal. And black cohosh allegedly treated symptoms of menopause like hot flashes, and it had a sedative and anti-inflammatory effect on menstrual cramping. And she would purchase her ingredients from local suppliers, steep them, macerate them, meaning kind of pound them and soak them, put them in cloth bags and let it percolate, and then she put it all in alcohol. All right. So her original compound had about 20% alcohol. And I guess what I want to share with you, and I'll kind of skip ahead to the end, is that her approach, her compound was incredibly successful. It was incredibly successful at a time when women had horrible uterine problems. Why did they have horrible uterine problems? They had horrible uterine problems partly because they were wearing, middle class and upper middle class women were wearing incredibly tightly laced corsets. As you may know, remember in Gone with the Wind, they the heroine wants to have that 17-inch waist, and her enslaved helper is like tugging on the strings of her corset to make her waist so tiny. Well, think about it. When you crush women's waists with that fashion, you're also crushing their organs. And so many women wearing corsets, I mean, I don't mean to be gross here, but this is our history. It forces the uterus downward. And so many women in the 19th century, especially middle-class women who could afford to wear corsets, meaning they weren't doing physical labor, would be very ill and turned into invalids. And one common complaint was a prolapsed uterus. And you can imagine what that does for your mood and these women's mood and their lives with their husbands and their reproductive lives. Catastrophic, right? So the other problem women were having was, of course, menstrual cramps. Well, menstrual cramps are super normal. Every woman has had them or has them. And the trouble is that heroic medicine, male-dominated medicine in the 19th century, treated menstrual cramps with the removal of women's ovaries. So that had a 40% fatality rate, right? So women were really in agony with menstrual cramps with very little to help them. And the other thing is women were, of course, having a lot of babies and didn't have access to reliable contraception. So Lydia Pinkham did something kind of amazing. She added advice about women's troubles to what she was offering, not just the tonic, but she answered letters, and she put the answers into pamphlets or into leaflets, and she sent them to her readers. She started a department of advice, and she guaranteed women that no male would ever read the contents of the letters addressed to Mrs. Lydia Pinkham. And so women were able to raise questions that otherwise they would have been uncomfortable to raise, or that would have been considered taboo, about everything, as you can imagine. How do I stop having so many babies? What about masturbation? I'm having hot flashes. I mean, it was horrible. Male doctors, obstetricians and gynecologists at that time were examining women without even looking at them. They're images of male gynecologists on their knees, putting their hands up the skirts and petticoats of women without even looking, right? Because it was considered immodest for a woman to be examined by a male doctor, and no one else was available to examine and help them. It was horrible. So you can imagine, so many women wrote to Lydia Pinkham. She was really considered a heroine, and she answered questions about all the things that women need answers to, especially at that time. Everything from how do I pace my pregnancies? How do I prevent conception? How do I have a healthy baby? How do I not lose my baby? How do, my milk isn't coming in. I haven't menstruated yet. My daughter menstruated too young. My period isn't here. Am I pregnant? All the things women worry about. Well, now we have the internet, and 20 years ago we had, answers from many sources, but in the 19th century, women had no answers, or very few, or the answers they got were nonsense. So you can imagine how much women appreciated Lydia Pinkham. The other thing is they were really taking her tonic, and there were many, many testimonials from her subjects saying that it helped them. Well, this blissful situation, of course, in which women are empowered and using age-old remedies to help themselves with menstrual and menopausal issues, could not last, right? So sure enough, around the same time of the Flexner report, a little bit earlier, in 1906, the government enacted the Pure Food and Drug Act, which sounds awesome. It forced companies like hers to disclose what was in their label. By the way, we still don't see what's in the label of the mRNA injections, of course. However, this meant that she had to disclose how much alcohol was in the product. And as a result, critics, not women, but other critics, began to criticize Lydia Pinkham's tonic for having alcohol in it. And, the argument began to be that women just like Lydia Pinkham's tonic because it was getting them drunk, which is kind of ridiculous. You'd have to drink a whole lot of Lydia Pinkham's tonic to have that effect. But this was the criticism. And, as was often true at that time, it didn't take accuracy for criticisms to be aimed at women. Well, let me go on to the kind of smearing of Lydia Pinkham's reputation, of the reformulation of her tonic. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Naomi Wolf. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our valued partners at the Wellness Company. It's a time now when uncertainty is lurking everywhere. Preparedness is no longer an option at the margins, it's 100% necessary. And that's where the Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit comes in. The Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit contains crucial medications such as ivermectin, emergency antibiotics such as amoxicillin, antivirals, Z-Pak. The kit is backed by the expertise of the Wellness Company and their team of renowned medical professionals, including Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. James Thorpe, Dr. Harvey Risch, Dr. Drew Pinsky, and other truth-seeking, truth-telling doctors. They have created a kit that sets the gold standard for safety and prevention, the ultimate preparedness solution. Don't wait for a medical crisis to catch you or your family off guard. Visit dailyclouthealth.com and use promo code DAILYCLOUT for an exclusive 10% discount. Take charge of your preparedness and enjoy peace of mind. And please do support our wonderful sponsors, the Wellness Company. By a few years ago, the Daily Beast is running a piece called Was Lydia E. Pinkham the Queen of Quackery? She developed an immensely popular, if questionably effective, herbal remedy for, quote, female complaints, pioneer in alternative medicine, or ... right? That the ominous ... I'm just going to grab my phone because there's something on it I want to read to you. So this is a smear piece, and they began a few years ago, and it recounts the story of her entrepreneurial life. But then it says, was Lydia E. Pinkham the queen of quackery? Considering the question requires us to separate the woman from the company that flourished under her name and face, Lydia's belief that her herbal tincture could repair a prolapsed uterus or treat ovarian tumors was probably no more misguided than many of the therapies and medicines of the time. But the company that emerged after her death became larger than life, and its mass market approach fits the profile of, quote, patent medicine huckster. end quote, in the ever-increasing list of ailments it could assuage, and in the way that it actively, if not nefariously, tried to shape women's ideas about their bodies. And so now the Daily Beast, I'm sorry, it's JSTOR. It's not the Daily Beast, I beg your pardon. It's the JSTOR Daily, my mistake. So that's kind of a scholarly gossip rag, if you like, attached to JSTOR. But you see her reputation start to be smeared. Now, Tim Harford this year, April 2023, in Cautionary Tales with Tim Harford, it's a podcast, tells the true scandal of Lydia E. Pinkham's vegetable compound. And he says it could cure almost any, quote, female ailment, end quote, even cancer, said the adverts. But Lydia E. Pinkham's vegetable compound was, in fact, just a concoction of herbs and alcohol of no proven medicinal merit. That didn't stop desperate American women from buying bottles of the stuff and writing to Lydia Pinkham for medical advice. Why did her customers shun expert doctors and opt instead for quack medicine? And why, when Lydia Pinkham finally came in for criticism, did no one question the efficacy of her vegetable compound? Da-na-na-na, right? It's like true crime. It's like a horror film. You see like this kind of progressive demonization of, a remedy for menstrual pain and menopause and prolapsed uteruses. Well, let's find out a little bit more. I, really was fascinated that also around the same time the Flexner report came out, Lydia Pinkham was targeted with this criticism. And the women who were using this remedy were attacked as like alcoholics and drug addicts almost. So now I'm looking at the Smithsonian website. And of course, the Smithsonian is our country's archive, right? And this is a package of Lydia Pinkham tablets. So they took the formulation out of the alcohol and they put it in tablet form, as well as offering an in-alcohol version. And it's been reformulated. And so some of the key ingredients taught to Lydia Pinkham by the Native Americans around her and part of, local lore are gone by the 1940s. And this is after the Flexner report. So what's in it now is extract of Piscidia erythrina, Jamaican dogwood. We're going to talk more about that. It's also called fish fuddle, and it is an anti-pain. It's very powerful to treat pain. Asclepias tuberosa, pleurisy root. So we still have pleurisy root in there. That hasn't changed. Glycyrrhiza licorice, which totally wasn't in the original formulation, and ferrous sulfate or iron, which also was not, to my knowledge, in the original formulation. And iron is a smart thing to add to a tonic for women who are menstruating because they're losing blood, obviously, and they can become anemic. So it's been reformulated, and some of the key elements like life root, unicorn root, and black cohosh and fenugreek are no longer in it. Now, let's see, let's think about that, okay? And let's see what's in the modern Lydia Pinkham's, because they still sell it, right? But the company was sold in 1968, right when pharma was taking over everything, to a company, a pharmaceutical company, and then it was sold again more recently to another pharmaceutical company. So now it's made by Big Pharma. What is in it? We've got iron, calcium, vitamin C, vitamin, herbal liquid supplement. Bear with me. What is in it now? Lydia Pinkham's tonic. People still like it, but it does not have, most of the ingredients in the original compound. Okay, it's nutritional support to make you feel better during menstruation and menopause. Okay, iron, calcium, and vitamin C and E. Very, very kind of vanilla. And let's see, here's the proprietary blend. Dandelion. So dandelion is, good, but it wasn't in the original. Black cohosh is back. Jamaican dogwood is, from the reformulated version, is still there. Motherwort is new. Pleurisy root is still there. Licorice root from the 1940s version, and gentian is new. So life root is gone. Unicorn root is gone. Fenugreek is gone. And so that's really interesting to me. We've got this completely smeared founder. The users have been smeared of the original formula, and some of the key roots and herbs of the original formula are gone, and replaced with nice herbs and roots, but that don't have the, to my knowledge, the specific black cohosh, yes, right, but the specific tonic for the uterus quality of the earlier roots, many of the replacements do not have. All right. So that's really interesting to me. And I guess what I also am interested in, and it could be real, is that there's an herbalist scandal going on, because this is false unicorn root. The original unicorn root in Lydia Pinkham's lost or erased remedy is true unicorn root. And if you look up unicorn root, I'm so glad so many people are watching. You're as fascinated as I am. It's like, this is so interesting, right? But unicorn root, if you look it up, and many of the herbalism sites have now been bought by pharma, I'm sorry to tell you, you'll see like a lot of maybe real, but maybe not real, I need to investigate it further, cautions about buying unicorn root. And the cautions aren't that it doesn't work or that it's bad for you. No, no, no. The cautions are it's endangered. And so don't buy it. It's endangered. Don't be selfish. And yet, and I'm like, it's endangered. Can't people grow plants that have grown in the past? So apparently, according to at least one herbalism website, there's a farm in Oregon that's growing unicorn root successfully, but otherwise they keep saying, don't buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it. All right, well, as a reporter, that sounds a little, I'm not going to say it sounds fishy, but it sounds like it needs more investigation, because here we've got, life root, unicorn root, fenugreek, and other powerful ingredients in the original formulation. Most of them are gone or changed. And one of them we're being told, don't even think about it. And maybe it is endangered and we shouldn't touch it, but let's find out more. All right. What does my spidey sense immediately think? My spidey sense immediately thinks pharma targeted Lydia Pinkham because this formulation worked. And pharma, and also I just want to say, like, this got me in trouble and deplatformed in June of 2021, but I've been saying it for 35, 36 years. Women don't lie en masse about their bodies, right? They don't. And if especially because this stuff is embarrassing, right? If your uterus is prolapsed, you're not going to take time out of your busy day to write a fake letter to someone saying, thank you for helping my prolapsed uterus, right? Women are very busy and they don't have time for that. And also, and by the same token, when I saw women saying their menstrual cycles are damaged by the mRNA injection, I was like, there's something here, because women don't lie en masse about their bodies. Maybe one crazy woman will lie about her prolapsed uterus or her milk production, but you're not going to get thousands and thousands of testimonials. And women also don't hallucinate. I mean, medical science has been trying to say for centuries that women hallucinate. And over, the things medical science said women were hallucinating about, they were telling the truth about. And it was actually medical science that was hallucinating. For instance, in Galen's era, the Greek physicians believed that women's uteruses traveled all over their bodies. In the 19th century, doctors believed that, women were inventing and hystericizing, right, sexual abuse by older males in their families, or that they were, that anxiety and nervous breakdowns were caused by not having intercourse. I mean, that could be true in some cases, but that all or most nervous disorders were caused by the uterus or by the fallopian tubes, or that female masturbation caused insanity, right? Doctors have been wrong over and over and over when it comes to women's bodies. So here are all these women, and forgive me for getting worked up about this, but I'm so tired of the suffering and the gaslighting. Here are thousands of women saying Lydia Pinkham's original formula worked. Around 1906, the Food and Drug Administration starts to regulate herbal remedies, and make them quack remedies. And then as great as it is to disclose ingredients, I'm all for that. I'm all for not adulterating, milk with, chalk powder. But also in 1910 was the Flexner Report. And right about that same time, Lydia Pinkham was targeted. Her users were targeted. And soon after that, the product was reformulated. And then after that, in 1968, pharma bought it up. And then another bigger pharma company bought it up, and it was reformulated. So where does this all lead me to? It's big business. It's big business to treat menstrual pain pharmaceutically, and it is big business to treat menopausal symptoms pharmaceutically. And huge. And why, like, I now am so suspicious. Why give that up, right? I now look at pharma's methodology of not making people better, but monetizing people's pain. And so, of course, I'm looking for the market value of menopause, right? Menopausal. I'm sorry, I should have done this before things started running. Menopausal. So it's right there. Here's a tech company reporting that menopausal hot flashes market grows by 2.1 billion from 2021 to 2022. 2.1 billion in 1 year. Hot flashes. Okay, 2.1 billion. What if there was a cheap herbal remedy? This cost me about $7. This cost me about $6.50. What if there was a cheap herbal remedy with pretty much no side effects that would save the women of America $2.1 billion? That's growth. That's not the total market. Okay. Okay. The global menopause treatment market is estimated to be worth 13.3 billion in 2022 and is set to expand 1.7x over the next 10 years. As I guess Gen X ages. The annual global economic impact of menopause is 150 billion. How big is, oh my gosh, the numbers get bigger and bigger. How big is the menopause care market? The global menopause care market was valued at US 15.53 billion in 2022, growing at a rate of 7.10%. During the forecast period from 2023 to 2028, they expected to reach USD 23.44 billion by 2028. Are you hearing those numbers? They expect it to grow by 40% in the next 5 years, at up to 23.44 billion in the United States alone. So looking back, am I a conspiracy theorist, or is this just business sense? Why would big pharma and big medicine allow women to treat their own uteruses if you can make this kind of bank by being the gatekeeper to women's well-being, to toning their uteruses, to not having miscarriages, to easing the pain of their menstrual cramps? The other thing I want to say is, young women are telling me now, childbearing age women, everything is treated with birth control pills. Menstrual cramp pain is treated with birth control pills. Acne is treated with birth control pills. Well, again, that's a multi-billion-dollar a year market. Let's see, birth control pills market. Sorry to be researching in real time, but that is this rant. Ha ha. The global contraceptives market size is projected to grow at a rate of over 6%. It's expected to garner revenue of $45 billion in the US, up from $26 billion in the year 2022. So that's contraceptives. Of course, that includes all contraceptives. But if birth control pills specifically, which are estrogen disruptors and help create conditions for stroke and heart attack and blood clots, if those are being prescribed for menstrual pain and for, many other conditions, why on earth would pharma let you have Lydia Pinkham's original formulation, in which so many women in the 19th century, right up to 1910, were saying, thank you. I was flat out with menstrual pain. It hurt. Now it doesn't. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's my argument. That's my thesis. And so I want to, again, show you that I'm going to reconcoct, I'm going to resurrect Lydia Pinkham. I'm going to do it myself. And it's pleurisy root, the original Lydia Pinkham, fenugreek seed, life root. This is from Herb Era. It's quite hard to find. And again, I don't want to destroy, I'm sorry, this is false unicorn root. I don't want to destroy a rare plant, but until we know more, it's a big question mark about that. False unicorn root and life root. I just love these names, right? And black cohosh, which I have somewhere, which I showed you. And here it is, black cohosh. Here they are, so easy peasy. So I'm going to macerate them, meaning smush them up in a pestle. I'm going to soak them in alcohol. I'm going to steep them for a while. I'm going to strain them. I'm going to give them to young women who are having menstrual problems, or to any friends of mine who are having hot flashes, or anyone who's got uterine problems. And I'm going to see how they feel. Now, I want to remind you all to please support our wonderful, wonderful sponsors for this incredible series, and that is Charlotte's Beauty, non-toxic beauty. Love these people. She's taught me so much about the toxins. Here, I'm turning it around so you can see it. About the toxins that we put on our faces, which go right into our bloodstreams. She taught me, Charlene Bollinger, cancer pioneer who formulated this, taught me that you can have 49% toxic ingredients. I know, I'm seeing the shocked face in the emojis, and still call it non-toxic, according to the FDA. And so we're putting tons of carcinogens on our faces and bodies in the form of other lotions and skincare products. And this is 100% natural, non-toxic. It's an investment, but I actually have stopped spending so much money at the drugstore since I began using these amazing products, and they last and last and last. And whether you're a man or a woman, I highly recommend them. I'm just telling everyone to throw everything out of their bathroom closets that is toxic and start over. And Charlotte's Beauty is a fantastic way to start over, a fantastic gift. I mean, men and women use them. Brian's using it. His skin is glowing. He's getting compliments like, your skin's beautiful. I use it, but as along with the other homemade concoctions, as you know, I've been making like tallow and coconut oil and so on. But support them, and you go to charlottes.beauty and then enter promo code dailyclout for 25% off. And our other sponsor for this series is twc.health, promo code dailyclout for 10% off. And let's now see the comments. Where can one buy the original formula? Says Show Quinn. You can't buy the original formula. So I will make the original formula, and then I'll show it to you, and then I'll show you how I made it. But to my knowledge, it is not possible to get, I looked, it's not possible to get the original formula. No one's making it. Synosis makes sense. Naomi Wolf, thank you so much for tonight's stream. You bet. Naomi, you're absolutely glowing. Thank you. It's my tallow and my Charlottes and these herbs that I've started taking. I mean, it's crazy. You compare, I don't ever want to show off or be a narcissist, but since I threw out pharmaceutical skin and hair products, you can compare my skin and hair to the picture up on my Twitter stream, and I'm just very happy. Obviously, this stuff really works. Pleurisy Root Black Cohosh says, Rita Claire. Charlene is great. Love these products, says Jennifer Walters. Hi, doll. Hi. And then Jennifer Walters says, crappy yellow dye face cream is $60 a bottle. Why not spend on the good stuff? I mean, again, it's an investment, but as Charlene says, have you priced cancer lately? She persuaded me. These things, I mean, when I think back on what I was putting in my face and on my body, and the fact that it was like a few cents worth of polyethylene glycol and parabens, that they were charging me $15 for, whatever. It's like, no more. Okay. I love natural remedies. All right. I guess that's it. Thank you, everyone. Before I sign off, I'm kind of proud of this. Sorry to keep dropping things. I'm alarming Loki. I am so proud. You remember that a while ago, I did a podcast on bath salts and the history of bathing in hot springs and hot salted water, or kind of sulfur springs, right? And the science of how that actually helps your nerves, helps gout, helps a number of disorders. Excuse me. And I taught people then how to make your own bath salts, healing bath salts with Epsom salts. Well, I did it as a gift, and I feel very crafty. I ordered from Amazon. It wasn't very expensive. And I know it's Amazon, but until I have another solution, I just have to bite the bullet. I'll try to order from local people if you guys want to suggest alternatives, but cute little scoops. Yes, they're more decorative than anything else, but I couldn't resist. Little raffia and these little jars. You get them like this. And I don't know, maybe I'm just really immature, but it takes you back to being 5 and finger painting. We need a little more crafts in our life. And as I said in that video, we spend so much on Christmas or Hanukkah or Mother's Day, and Liberty Lifestyle is about not being in debt, among other things, and being self-reliant, right? So why not gift these? It's Himalayan salt, it's baking soda, it's Epsom salt, it's a little bit of scent, and I used lavender in this. I went and ordered some scents that are real, and just a few droppers full in a big bowl of salts. And it's really like 1-to-1 Epsom salts, baking soda, and then another one of Himalayan salts, really because they're pretty. And that's it. And then you just package them up and hand them out. And I think they make a wonderful gift. No one's complained. Actually, one of my loved ones who was skeptical used my homemade bath salts, and she said her skin has never been softer. And there's nothing toxic in here. So just sharing that little thing with you. And the last thing I want to share on my journey of experimenting on myself with all this stuff and telling you about it is, that I ordered this Stanley Cup and love it because it keeps everything hot. By the way, none of these people are sponsors of ours, and I always disclose if someone's a sponsor. I have strict journalistic ethics about disclosure and separating ads from editorial. But this, I love it. But then someone said, oh, there's lead in the bottom. So I did look that up. There is lead in the bottom. So I'm not going to tell you to get it without you, having your own comfort level and doing your own research. But I'm sure there are alternatives that keep your tea hot. But the reason I thought this was important is I'm really recommending that people drink a lot of herbal teas, obviously with these different roots and herbs and barks in tea form. And I'm recommending that they be loose teas, not tea bags, or I just feel like you lose a lot with the tea bags. So there you can see the steam, I hope, coming up from this. And what I've been drinking is fenugreek seeds and nettle seeds. Well, I never, ever want to do a weight loss thing because of all of the nonsense around weight loss in our culture. And also because I think health is more important than, what you weigh. And also because I used to be anorexic and I don't want to be worried about weight loss. And, I don't want to pressure women especially. But I do have to let you know, because obesity does have a lot of, weight and being overweight does have a lot of health consequences. Without trying, drinking fennel seed tea and lemongrass tea, I did lose 9 pounds this week. So, and when I looked it up, I took it for my cold and flu, as you know from the last podcast. But it also is supposed to be useful for weight loss. Again, I don't believe in telling anyone to do anything to lose weight. I think these are very personal decisions, but I did think I should share that with you. I see light ahead. I see, we're going to get through this horrible, dark period. And I'm so excited to be bringing, I asked on Substack, do you want me to talk about natural remedies and herbal remedies and traditional remedies? And I got like 700 yeses. So I guess I'm not a weirdo. Other people are weirdos with me too. And it's wonderful. And I really hope that you all try. I can't tell you to try these things, or I'll get arrested. I hope you all think about the cultural history I just shared with you and make up your own mind, and take good care of yourselves, and have a wonderful, wonderful night. Support us on dailyclout.io. Come to my Substack Outspoken. Support me on Outspoken. You can also go to Outspoken for the best of Daily Clout and support our sponsors, twc.health, promo code dailyclout, and charlotte.beauty, promo code dailyclout. Have a wonderful night. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Naomi Wolf. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our valued partners at the Wellness Company. It's a time now when uncertainty is lurking everywhere. Preparedness is no longer an option at the margins. It's 100% necessary. And that's where the Wellness Company's medical emergency kit comes in. The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit contains crucial medications such as ivermectin, emergency antibiotics such as amoxicillin, antivirals, Z-Pak. The kit is backed by the expertise of the Wellness Company and their team of renowned medical professionals, including Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. James Thorpe, Dr. Harvey Risch, Dr. Drew Pinsky, and other truth-seeking, truth-telling doctors. They have created a kit that sets the gold standard for safety and prevention, the ultimate preparedness solution. Don't wait for a medical crisis to catch you or your family off guard. Visit dailyclouthealth.com and use promo code DAILYCLOUT for an exclusive 10% discount. Take charge of your preparedness and enjoy peace of mind. And please do support our wonderful sponsors, the Wellness Company.